right, it is time to discuss the 9 to 5 Alpha. My name is Big Fry. Welcome to the channel. If you guys don't know what 9 to 5 is, this was a game that was shown off at the Game Awards late last year. It is a tactical, team-oriented, team-focused, cooperative, multiplayer PvP experience. It's a lot of terms there, but what this game breaks down to is there's 3 teams of 3 that are playing 3 rounds in a game with like changing and variable objectives that change based on which team does what in the game. So it's not just your team deathmatch. It's not just like a search and destroy. Basically what happens is you jump into a game mode and it's like first you got to secure a key. And then that key leads you to a point that you then have to go and like set up barricades around and defend. And then that one takes you to a third one where you now got like a satellite that you know got some intel, and now you have to go and destroy this objective or however the game wants to run it. There's a whole bunch of potential for variable objectives, and it actually rewards you for doing well and playing with your team. Now, I just want to say right off the bat, this game is not a hardcore, realistic FPS. This isn't an Escape from Tarkov. It's not an Arma, but what it does have that those games do kind of feature is the teamwork aspect. This game is tactical in every sense of the imagination. If you are running away from your team and you are not there holding angles and trying to move through these maps to get to these objectives, you're fucked. Your team is done. If there is any sort of dead weight on a team of 3, chances are you're going to lose the game. So if you're going in and you want to play a game like this with 2 of your friends, like this is the tactical FPS for you. Now, graphically, a lot of people were comparing this game to like a Payday or the weapon models kind of being like a Bad Company. Totally agree. And I actually like it. I don't think it's the best looking game in the world, but it definitely, it's passable. I'm not a big graphics guy anyway, but it looks good. I think it looks really good actually. The UI and the menus, clean as hell. Now, granted, if you guys are looking at this, I can't show any gameplay. I'm under NDA. I can talk about the game. I can talk about the state that it's in, but I can't show any screenshots, gameplay, audio, anything like that. So I'm talking about it, but I can't actually show it. The UI and the menus, super clean, very, I wouldn't say minimalistic, but it doesn't have a bunch of shit that is just showing. It's a menu. You go and you choose what kind of armor your character wants to wear, what kind of weapon they want to wear. I think it opens up a lot of possibilities for customization in terms of your weapon and in terms of like character clothing or different pieces. I don't know if they're going to break down and expand upon the armor system where you can throw on different, like you can throw on helmets, a chest, and basically your legs. And that's it. I don't know if they're going to expand upon that in the future, but the systems are there to allow them to do it. I love the different types of objectives. Like we were saying, I am so fucking sick of going into an objective, sitting in a corner, and just waiting for the bar to fill up to cap the objective to then move on to the next one. This game is offering a variable narrative style objective where you cap this one or this team caps the first point, and it changes how the game is going to play out in the subsequent rounds that come after that. It's a 3-round game, and it's all just like almost like ever changing every time you do something. The map scale, for me, it's off for some objects like stairwells, but I think the size of the maps that house the 3 teams is pretty solid. And we're going to get into that in a little bit more because I have a critique about the map design that kind of goes into my cons list. I have all of my notes kind of just broken down here. The scale is off on some objects, but I like the size of the maps for moving between all of these points. Now, through that UI, it looks like they have things like daily quests and rewards. They aren't in the alpha yet, but it looks like the areas in the UI and the menus are for that. So it looks like they have an idea of pushing that longevity and keeping people engaged and working towards something that isn't just like dropping in and pewdy, shoot, you know what I mean? Which is great. There's tons of potential in the game, and I see it right off the bat. The core shooting mechanics, they're good, but I think the weapons need a lot of balancing, a lot of tweaking. It feels like some of the time to kills and some of the battles that I got into, some are long, some are kind of short. It feels like you get taken out really quick, and then sometimes you're just loading people with bullets. I think that all just comes down to the armor versus the weapon tweaking, and I'm sure in the future, once they actually sit down and figure all of that stuff out, I mean, hopefully they nail it. I have a lot of faith. They do have some like FPS and shooter veterans on their team, so like I'm hoping for the best there, but right now it's definitely in a state where, like, you can tell not a lot has gone into like the thought process of balancing all of these weapons and stuff like that. I'm just hoping in the future that it happens. My cons for the game, and this is one of the most important things, and this is going to relate back to the map design. I love the maps. I like the size of them. But when you look at the player movement, you can only vault in certain areas, which actually makes the navigation of these maps kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. I feel like I should be able to vault and jump over a fence. It doesn't have that fluidity that a game like Battlefield does, and you find that they're setting up like dumpsters and boxes for you to be able to jump over these points, but just in an instant, when you want to get from point A to point B really quick, you find yourself having to like stop, take a quick little pause, look around, be like, okay, I got to vault over here, and then vault over here. It kind of gets annoying after a while. I like the size of the maps, I like the look of the maps, the aesthetic, but I hate the fact that the player movement still feels like it's something out of like 2007. If they can make that vaulting animation just basically happen everywhere, you can like jump over fences and shorter walls and stuff like that, that would be awesome. Like I mentioned, the weapons need balancing, but I'm hoping that'll come with time. But one thing you're going to be noticing a lot of is when you die, because this is a one life game mode, which I love. Okay, one life game modes are my shit. But when you die in this game, it gives you an option to choose between 4 different drones. You have like a healer drone, a jammer, a shield drone, and I can't remember what the other one is, like a zapper drone. You can fly these things around in the map, and you can use it to kind of assist your team, but all of the drones just feel really useless. Like I'm running around, I'm flying them, and I'm trying to like zap certain things or trying to do something that can help my team out, and it just, to me, this whole secondary mode just feels really tedious. Now, I don't know if they're going to be revamping the way the drones work in the future. Again, this is an alpha. All of this stuff is subject to change, and I'm hoping that some of these things do change. But I just felt personally playing the game, these drones are kind of just useless. You start to really realize also that this is an alpha because the audio, the footsteps, very muffled or sometimes like non-existent. I don't know if it's a bug or if they just haven't tweaked that yet. There's sometimes where players are just like running up to me on my right, don't even hear them, can't tell where they're at, and then I look over and they're just right in front of me, and then I'm just getting gunned down. I just think it needs a lot of work. Matchmaking for testing purposes, super annoying, especially with this small a player pool. I get that you have to test these systems to make sure that you can match people together. Totally understand it, but definitely for an alpha perspective, when you have a limited player base already, you're sitting there queuing into a match for 4 to 5 minutes sometimes. Usually the average is about 3.5 to 4 minutes to get into a game, and it's just kind of like, I just wish I could run around in like a little test environment, kind of see how some of these things work, like weapons and player movement and stuff like that. And then when I want to go and try the PvP, see the ballistics and how they tweak all of that, then let me go into matchmaking. I feel like every game now, if you're in like an alpha period like this, there needs to be like an offline portion where you can just run around, see how the game feels from a core perspective, and then take that knowledge and go online with it. I ran into a couple of bugs. Audio was stuck to always open instead of like push to talk for the mic. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, talking, and people could just hear me, and then you had to go and like switch it on and off like 4 times to get it to work. I was hearing other teams through the voice chat as well. That shit's gonna get solved with time. I've played games, I remember when like Hell Let Loose first did their alpha, they had like fucking people from like other servers talking into mics. It was a mess. This isn't that bad, but it's something that needs to be fixed. You know, and just, you know, characters and weapons kind of clipping through walls. When you set up barricades to kind of like hold down an objective, you can tell when players are standing on the other side of the wall because their guns are going through it. You can see their shoulders and shit. That's something that a lot of games suffer from, but it's something that I definitely wanted to bring up here. Other than that, there wasn't a lot of bugs in this first phase of testing. I think the game is actually pretty good for an alpha. Like, am I gonna sit here and be like, yo, you guys should give them $60 now to pre-order to get access to it? Fuck no. And I think they know that too. Like, if they came out tomorrow and were like, yo, if you guys want alpha access, it's like $10-15, I'd just be like, just don't. It's like, because now it feels like you're buying a product and there's a transaction there. The fact that these guys are giving this away for free for you and me to actually do things like this, give them the feedback, I love it. I will always stand by developers that do things like this because I feel like they're doing it right. Even though this might be a little bit too early to showcase, and I know that there's a subsection of the gaming community that doesn't care about any sort of, if the game is trash, the game is trash, regardless if it was a free alpha or whatever the case is. I just feel like the lines are kind of being blended there a little bit. But no, I mean, it isn't a full-priced, polished game by any means, but for an alpha, I definitely see what they're going for. Definitely excited to cover this game in the future. I don't know if it's going to be something like with a Dead Matter where they drop a quick little update. I actually personally think at this point, I'll you know what? I'll wrap it up with this. I feel like right now, them putting an NDA on the gameplay, I think this game could be shown off. With a mindset like this, that it's a free alpha, you know, get some creators in there to showcase exactly what we're talking about. I think it could be fine. I think they have a decent product on their hands, and hopefully it turns out to be something great in the future for everybody to play. I could personally see myself, if this game had like private servers, I could bring people in from the community, 3 teams of 3, give me some like spectator, and like I could host like 3v3 fucking tournaments and do community stuff like that, dude. Hell yeah, bro. It's definitely a solid experience for an alpha, and I think that's just what people have to kind of keep in mind. Let me know what you guys think down below. Can't wait to read the fucking comments in this one. My name is Big Fry. If you guys enjoy the videos, consider subscribing. And if you guys want to check out some great deals, I'm sponsored by Fanatical, Chrono, Humble Bundle. If you guys are ever looking for cheap games, I think Fanatical is doing a crazy bundle right now. All those links are down in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.